Today, I'm reviewing the Apos X Community Gremlin tube headphone amplifier. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews, and this is the Gremlin headphone amp. It's coming in at a price of $120 US. Now, there are two different pricing versions available. One comes with these 12AU7 Ray Core tubes from Apos Audio, and there's also a version you can get with the Ray Select tubes. So as you can see, we've got an open design here. It's basically all the components and circuitry sandwiched between two bits of plexiglass. On the front of the unit, we've got a power switch, a balanced XLR headphone output, 4.4mm balanced headphone output, and our volume knob. That volume knob, by the way, it's really nicely weighted. It's got good resistance, so you can really dial in precisely the volume that you want. It's got four little silicone or rubber feet on the bottom. That's the underside of the PCB. Pretty cool, huh? Now on the back of the unit, it's pretty basic here. We've got a 4.4mm balanced input, two 3-pin XLR balanced inputs, and your power in. And yeah, you're wondering, where's the RCA? Well, there isn't any. You might also be wondering, where's the 3.5? There isn't one, because this is a fully balanced headphone amplifier from start to finish. There is no single-ended circuit, so if you've got 3.5mm headphones or IEMs, you won't be able to use this. And of course, because it's just a headphone amplifier, you will also need a DAC, specifically a DAC with XLR outputs. With this kind of design, it's probably a bit of a love or hate thing. I kind of love it. I think it's sort of really niche and interesting. It's a little bit more interesting than the typical black boxes that we're used to seeing. There are a couple of other things that I want to mention. First of all, although it comes with 12AU7 tubes, it's also compatible with 6922 tubes. But if you want to use the 6922 tubes, you have to change this little jumper here. You just have to pull it off and move it to those other pins there. And by the way, if you want to change the tubes, you first have to remove this top plexiglass here. You'll need some kind of a tool to undo those because they're pretty tight. There is another jumper as well, and that is over on the other side. Now this one turns on 4 green LEDs that are located on the underside of the PCB, and I'll show you what they look like a bit later on. That's pretty much it in terms of the physical build. It feels nice and solid in the hand. Let's talk about power output for a moment, because this little guy is pushing up to 1250 milliwatts at 32 ohms. Yes, you heard that right. 1.25 watts or 1250 milliwatts. That's pretty impressive for a little unit like this. By the way, this is a Class A amp. It is a hybrid. The tubes are in the preamp stage, and then you've got a solid state output. So you're getting the best of both worlds. Right, let's get this baby plugged in so I can... Oh, before I do that, I also want to mention there are also two orange... Well, there is an orange LED under each tube as well. So when I power it on and you see it immediately start glowing orange, no, that's not the tube effect. That is the LEDs underneath. So let's plug it in and switch her on. That's what it looks like. Pretty neat, huh? So you can see the orange LEDs under the tubes, and then on the underside, those 4 green LEDs, which, like I mentioned, you can turn those off. You just have to pull out this you just have to pull out this little jumper on the side or move it across to the other pins, And how ironic is this? I've been using this thing for weeks. It's been literally flawless. And just now when I'm recording my review, the LED under this tube here has apparently died, which is quite unfortunate. I don't know what happened there, but I can tell you that the tube is still working fine. I can see the elements glowing within the tube still. So it's just the LED. That, well, I don't know what to say about that. I'll leave it up to you to decide. Right, let's get into the important part now, and that is the sound. So how does the Gremlin sound? Much better than I expected. If I'm being honest, I was really quite surprised. So hooking up my PC to currently my SMSL raw DAC 1 via USB, and from the SMSL DAC, obviously via the balanced output to the XLR balanced inputs on the Gremlin here. And when it comes to sound signature, the Gremlin leans more towards clarity and transparency, more so than, outright warmth and tubiness. It definitely rewards you for pairing it with a clean, capable source. So yeah, the SMSL raw DAC 1 is a great match for it. Now, I hate to say this phrase, but in this case, I think it's fair to break my own rule and say it. I think the Gremlin genuinely punches above its weight. I think it sounds better than it should for a $120 tube amplifier. It doesn't have the same kind of liquid magic and the sense of scale as some high-end tube amps like my Felix Audio Elise, but that's a $2,000 amp. But it handily outperforms other budget tube amps that I've tested around that $100 mark and even up to $200. And the first thing that really impressed me with this is its black background. It's quite common for, especially in budget tube amps, to get some background hiss. I've had some problems in the past with X-Duo tube amplifiers with a bit of a hissing in the background. This one, to my ears, is completely silent, even with IEMs, and that really quite surprised me a lot. So this one, pretty transparent. It doesn't try to impress you with, really exaggerated warmth or an artificial thickness, but what it does, it just adds enough tubiness, tube character to smooth the edges and flesh out the mid-range a bit. So it's a very emotive sounding amplifier. Paired with something like the Sennheiser HD650, you've got an extra sense of depth and dimensionality there. Vocals feel a bit more lifelike. The whole presentation takes on a slightly more liquid and organic quality. So bass notes gain a subtle bloom. The treble smooths out just a little bit, but without losing air. It's not the most technically aggressive tube amp, but that's not the point. This one is about tone, texture, and musicality. So with that fairly transparent sound signature and with that really black background, what you get is a clean, open sound with just enough tube magic to make it feel more intimate and engaging. It's a subtle but addictive shift, and it makes you want to reach for one more track and then another, and on and on. And I've spent far too many hours just sitting back listening to this, enjoying music, when I should have been working on other things. I won't dive into any specific pairings right now, but if you're interested to see those, you can check out my full written review. There'll be a link down in the description. So the Apos X Community Gremlin, I think this is a pretty impressive little amp that punches above its price. It has a nice, clean, engaging sound, just the right amount of tube character, and it does so, at that price. It's pretty hard to fault, although I can't believe that light just died right in the middle of my video review. That is uncanny. Obviously, I can't say whether that is just my unit or if that's going to be a thing with this release. It might be common, but who knows? I guess we'll find out in the future. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. So thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, Par Family Audiophile style. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.